Hey, Docs, do y'all celebrate Christmas for people who play video games? I do! Hallelujah! It's the birth of a new fiscal season of downgrades, hype, and cool hip new ways to milk the wallets of unsuspecting Madden fans again. 'Tis the season to be disappointed, fa la 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 Battle Royale. I thought it was good, but also not good, but also whatever your opinion was. That's every E3 video ever. Personally, I got excited when Todd Howard showed me some font and some text 3 times. Pumped for pre-ordering everything soon and maxing out my mom's credit card. But let me ask you something. Have you ever considered shoot? I mean, like with guns. No, not those kitty guns that shoot sticky goo. I'm talking big guns, small guns, and just right guns. Guns that shoot gun things. Where do you shoot these guns? Behind a conveniently half-human-sized object that kinda sorta fits with the environment, of course. Is there ammo and resources around to collect too? Did Mario 2 used to be Doki Doki Panic? Did Pac-Man used to be called Puckman? Is Wario Waluigi's brother or lover? I don't know about that last one, my Wikipedia machine broke. It won't stop giving me fun facts about video games. See, during this particular E3, there seemed to be a trend, so to speak, of over 20 big-name shooters, roughly half of those being third-person variants. And when you layer all of these on top of each other, it's hard not to notice the glaring similarities. Post-apocalyptic, war-torn, depressing, dark. Sounds like my love life. Can I get a heck yes? It's funny to be sad online! Whoa, retweet! Yeah, I'm boiling these titles down to their fundamentals. There are aspects that manage to shine through and separate them all from each other. Ellie from The Last of Us 2 isn't a bald killing machine like with Hitman 2. She has brown hair. Metro Exodus and Fallout 76 both have you dealing with mutated monsters in a post-apocalypse wasteland, but one's location features the most iconic song of our generation, Take Me Home USSR, and the same rang true for last year and the year before and that year before. This trend of shooty-shoot games has been rampaging across the industry since the beginning. Because of its prevalence and non-distinctive features, some of the time this causes it to all sort of blend together, I think. As humans, probably, we have a tendency to categorize the information we take in. With how much we're exposed to on a daily basis online, we have to make sense of it somehow, hence all the boxes similar stuff is put into. You see Mario, you put him in the Mario box. You see Yoshi, you put him in the Mario box. You see Waluigi, and you take him out of the Smash box and you crush him into bits. You could even say the same thing for platforming mascots in the early 90s. It's why Bubsy failed. Not because of the game itself, of course not. Everyone loved it, but think about it. Do you remember Titus the Fox? How about Zero the kamikaze squirrel? Now you, yes you, getting ready to type,
"Yes, you skinny Twinkie YouTube Game Boy, I do."
And great, you can officially make your own rise and fall of insert iconic character here and put lo-fi hip-hop in the background for millions of views. I'm proud of you. The point is, when everyone tries to capitalize off of a trend, more stuff gets left in the dust and the trend itself fades away. Right? Well, I tricked you, not really. If this was true that too much of a certain game type causes the whole space that the genre exists in to be less special, why hasn't COD stopped? They've Control-V'd about 20 of those or whatever, and they're still profitable. Interest hasn't been shot down. If anything, it's been shot up. Shoot game is the most popular type of game currently, with Fortnite reigning supreme at the moment, and it's been this way since I've been alive. The platforming genre, likewise, apparently fell off, or at least that's the tried and true narrative. Again, the statistics tell a different story, one where Super Mario himself is still relevant, where Sonic hasn't died despite being roadkill about 3 times and being resuscitated back into the spotlight of critical analysis. Indie platformers are still being pumped out in vast numbers, many of them being even better than they have been before. A Hat in Time, Hollow Knight, Iconoclast, Cuphead Celeste, I could go on. While these platformers don't dominate the market anymore, it's unfair to say they're dead or the entire genre has fallen. I mean, come on, are you really going to shortchange Mario Odyssey like that? It was made by Nintendo! Despite these titles performing strongly, it still feels like there's a saturation saturation issue. The games have reached a singularity where everything's so similar and nothing feels unique. I watched the Gears of War trailer without the Funko Pops and felt no excitement. I played every single Gears game, but it didn't do anything for me. I felt like I had already seen something like it before. Same with Anthem, I've already played Iron Man for the PS2. So I went to questioning myself. Why do I feel this way? I said to my many selves in my brain. They responded with a riddle. You love Breath of the Wild. You think it's a masterpiece.
Eat shredded mozzarella cheese in a bag.
But what if there were 5 other games like Breath of the Wild with a slightly different coat of paint and gameplay drive? Would they be as good as Breath of the Wild? Well, I always like to practice the concept of evaluating games in 2 different ways. First, by their own merits, like they exist in their own bubble outside of any drama, competition, etc., etc. Essentially, I could say that Federation Force is a perfectly fine multiplayer shooter for what it is without taking into consideration the great Metroid tragedy of 2012.
Alright, hey everyone, sorry for the interruption. You're probably thinking, what did that mean? What came out in 2012? What happened? As it turns out, nothing. I'm pretty sure he thought that Other M came out in 2012, but it didn't. It came out in 2010, so this comment made no sense. So thank you, Haedox, for doing your research and not talking out of your ass. Thank you, well done, you did a good job. Alright, sorry about that everyone. On with the video.
Second, by how they stand up to the context I currently played them in. For example, if I played Mario 64 today, and don't worry, I'm not gonna say it staged poorly, I'd try to see how the game fares against other more advanced games while still being fair to 64 itself. Or I could say not to buy an EA game regardless of the individual quality because, well, you know, like my video for saying something so controversial yet so incredibly brave. Let's apply this reasoning to the hypothetical Breath of the Wild singularity. I'd probably play all of them and give them a fair chance. I'd see how each holds up against my subjective metrics for what I enjoy in a game. How's the music? How's the gameplay? Is there an orange fat cat? That kind of jazz. Then I'd see how nuanced each feels in comparison to the other titles. Only then would I maybe feel tired of the saturation of Battl. I mean, too much of a good thing can also not bring you much enjoyment. It's something smart people, not like myself, like to call diminishing returns to scale, I guess. The bag of shredded mozzarella cheese is pure euphoria, but after the 7th one, you might feel worse in the end and maybe need to go to a morgue. So if each was hypothetically perfect, would that cause the saturation to be more or less intense if they were all hypothetically mediocre? That's an interesting point I've thought about. Maybe it's not the prevalence of the type of game, maybe it's just that when a genre becomes so popular, you get so many just plainly average attempts to develop something similar. This is my problem currently with the Battle Royale genre. There's so many fruitless endeavors to make a Fortnite-like right now, or a PUBG-like. I don't know, has that lawsuit been canceled yet, like Radical Heights? The genre rose up so fast that publishers are trying to have their own spin on it to get a piece of that delicious microtransaction money pile. Many just threw one together in a few months, like Totally Accurate Battlegrounds or Battlefield 5. Oh, and Call of Duty 25 is going to take a stab at that too. It's just overwhelming, and considering how non-complex each are by their own merits, I feel like I've become tired of that mode being tacked onto games. Imagine if Halo Infinite is just Battle Royale. I don't want to say it because it could come true. If that happened, that would be very, very sad. And that would also be the gift God promised to video essayists everywhere. Because each is so unremarkable, the genre, for me, has become stale. I think it's a bit of a combination of the 2 lenses I use to evaluate games. When they're both broken and gloomy, I see the obvious oversaturation. With that in our brains, let's reapproach the shooter singularity. Each are stylized in different manners, seriously. Some are apocalyptic, but they approach that topic in distinct ways from each other. There's different lore and a unique presentation for each. They may play similarly, but the games aren't exactly the same. They look different enough. While most of them don't do anything spectacular to break the mold of the trendsetters that laid the foundation for them, they haven't become one singular batch of LCL. issues arise when they're so unbelievably boring and not very interesting. They've become something a little different, something that is marching towards that inevitable fate, I suppose. It's nothing to lose sleep over. I'm not rolling around in bed thinking about how Todd Howard is killing Fallout or how Miyamoto burned Paper Mario, when the elements that once were so fantastical and interesting are just put as little side gimmicks to have. The stealth mechanic where you walk around and press a button for executions is just one of the many. Hiding behind things and shooting, and then hiding behind things and shooting is another pretty boring component of third-person shooters. There are ways around these issues, solutions to make the gameplay more compelling. That's really how to quote-unquote save the games industry. Just be more creative. I don't really have a solution at this point. I get to it later. I may fear we'll lose what makes games so special and fascinating, but I also rationally know that this year has given me some of the most incredible gaming experiences I've had. And that sounds really corny, but it's true. God of War was like The Last of Us with a kid stapled by your side, but Atreus remained different enough from Ellie, and Kratos and Joel, despite the dad beard and bod, are completely different characters. Both come from tragic pasts, each find redemption through a child, and it is dark and sad, but when I played God of War, I wasn't thinking it was The Last of Us of Greek god slaying, I was thinking it was God of War. The sad reality is that this perceived oversaturation is just how it be. People chase the money, games get canceled for not having the potential for money, series get canceled because they don't make enough money, games sometimes just get made to make more money without a care for quality or breaking the mold. Welcome to capitalism, baby. When you look back on the past, the games industry has usually been like this. EA didn't suddenly become this evil shadow across us all, draining everyone of their happiness and cash. It's been happening. People have been complaining about EA since they boomed into existence. Back when mascot platformers were the norm, you can find discussions where people feared the same saturated singularity. People said Mario would fade away and people would forget, and they did. All 10 million of them. Everything is always changing and evolving. In a decade, we'll see the same dilemma. We'll have new forms of microtransactions, we'll have a new console generation, we'll have the same nostalgia boom. The industry will change, we will change. But like Wizard 101, we'll probably still be around wondering what's even going on. I hate to be a downer again and again, but maybe we're just all growing up and finding more important things to think about. Kingdom Hearts 3 was like the most exciting thing for me out of E3. There's dozens of JRPGs like it out there, but then again, not really. The same goes for The Last of Us 2, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and the such. What I've learned is to look at the finer details and find the meaning. It's usually there. In an industry that's apparently conditioned for incompetent, rushed garbage, it's more important than ever to think about what's being consumed. I'd argue Madden and EA Sports titles are saturated, but millions of people buy it. They don't seem to think so, and while I still have my opinions on that, it's not any reason to panic over the death of the industry yet. I'd argue we haven't reached that point yet. Maybe we won't. There's still people working their asses off to be different and special, and it's important to recognize these folks and encourage them, I think. Yoko Taro is still making that wacky good stuff. Nomura is throwing every Disney property he can at Kingdom Hearts anime boys. Miyazaki's got a new project. Miyamoto, I don't know what he's up to. And Reggie's still around.
Fortnite.
I'm not telling you to change your mind. You're all free.
For now.
What even is this video about? As I always say, if you disagree or agree with me, let me know in the comment section below. I'm always willing to have a chat if you're willing to give me the time and not the anger. And yes, I read all of them, unfortunately. I'd like to give a special thanks to my patrons on screen now. Another to this guy named Kane who helps edit. Kane, I'm putting you on the spot. Give the audience a funny.
Oh god, how?
Anyways, thank you so much for watching and take care. Have a wonderful day and goodbye.